Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Gray, prior to termination, where was your band located?
When you ask prior to termination, do you mean when the original lands were ceded, or
no,
which territory are you searching
termination for? That took place in the 1950s, I guess it was.
Okay. The original rancheria is located in what is now Ukiah, California,
which is near
Mendocino County.
Do any of the tribes still reside in that area, or do they live in the Bay Area?
When you ask any of the tribes, are you asking specifically about Guidiville? There are several tribes in the area.
The department has testified that it applies a rigorous historical nexus test for restored lands. How do you think you're going to be able to meet that historical nexus test?
Well, it's very difficult, as they testified, and very expensive and time-consuming. The tribe would not pursue this particular piece of land if it did not believe that it had a strong historical tie to the property. So what we'd like to see happen is that the exception under which we fall would be left alone as it is, and that we be allowed to go through that rigorous process, and the tribe is willing to live with the end result.
How do you answer the charge that your interest in the off-reservation sites is only in conducting gaming?
Well, off-reservation, just the term alone, presupposes that the tribe has a reservation.
You're interested in off-reservation sites, are you not?
We don't have a reservation,
no.
And I understand your question. This is within our historical area, and we firmly believe that. But in California, where we're from, it's simple economics, and in an area where lands at our northern boundary of our territory and lands that are at our southern boundary of our territory are approximately the same, well in excess of $200,000 an acre. It will take us over $100 million just to do the land purchase. And so you have to be able to draw enough people to the casino to make enough money to be able to pay just for the land. That's not infrastructure or any other things that need to occur.
Chief Norris, you indicate that the department declined to consider your request to have land in Logansport declared restored lands. What was the basis for their decision?
For Logansport?
Yes. Was it due to a lack of sufficient historical nexus?
We proved that there was ties to the part in Logansport. It was, we were not saying it was the Jena band that was originally there, but we were saying that it was a Choctaw nation. We proved through documentation that there was Choctaw people there during the removal period from the eastern to Oklahoma. With the Logansport package, they did give us a two-part determination in that, with the support of our governor from Louisiana at the time. Unfortunately, all indications were that we were going there for the two-part determination, which Interior did issue that proclamation, but the governor, former Governor Foster, did not carry through with his decision before leaving office.
State in your testimony you have a 3-parish or county parish service area. How was that service area determined?
It was determined by the Bureau of Indian Affairs when we began our process for the federal acknowledgement process. The people in my tribe resided in Grand Rapids and LaSalle parishes. This is where we would have a delivery service area for health services for our tribe.
The department indicate that this was the area in which you could have an initial reservation, or did the department tell you that there was a certain area where it would take land into trust for your initial reservation?
No, sir, it did not. It only deemed this area for a delivery of services to my people for health care, education, social services.
Obviously, you've had a very difficult time.
Yes.
If you had to do over again, what would you have done differently? Anything?
I think that my tribe, I feel, during the relationship that I've had in government for the 30 years, we worked with our state, we worked with our governor. Perhaps there lies the reason that we've been criticized most in the media, because we went to the areas where our governor, he very adamantly came out and said, I will not give you a compact in those service areas of the 3 parishes which you reside, because those areas voted out gaming. If you will go where they want you, where the people will accept you, where they already have a form of gaming, I will support you. Because of that statement that was issued, we sought to seek these places. The 3 parish area that voted out gaming is where we reside, where we live and go to church. We go to school with these people. We wanted to be good neighbors. I would have not chose any other course than what we participated in. I believe it was right. I believe we worked with our local government to get to these areas, to get to where we are today.
Must feel a little betrayed.
Of course I do. I feel betrayed by the administration in my own state because of the other 3 federally recognized tribes. As a leader, as you've heard from the testimony of these other tribal leaders, it is up to me to give my people a better way of living, to improve their quality of life. And that's what I'm here for, and that's my journey, and that's what my mission is to my people. And I know that my story has been an open book. It's been published in the media around the country. We have everybody looking at the decisions that is made today based on the Jena Band of Choctaw. And it is before you to see and everyone else to see. We've tried to work with governments and with local bodies to do what is right, to do the right thing.
Chairman Barnett, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
You state that the site you are proposing is 14 miles from the territory identified by the Indian Claims Commission as the traditional territory of the Cowlitz. Why did the tribe not seek a site within the traditional territory as identified by the Indian Claims Commission?
In 1973, we went through the process of a hearing with the Indian Claims Commission. We were awarded $1,500,000 for 1,716,000 acres of land. We were not allowed to include Clark County because we could not, at that point in time, prove exclusive use and occupancy. And there's a reason for that, and I think it's a very important reason. The Cowlitz tribe has always been, since time immemorial, the resident tribe, all the way down to the Columbia River. When the Hudson's Bay Company built Fort Vancouver, which is just north of Portland, Oregon, across the river, it changed things. Because other tribes, for instance, the Umatilla, the Nez Perce, Grand Ronde, those tribes came to Fort Vancouver for the benefits of trade or get supplies or whatever it happened to be. The Cowlitz were already there. These tribes came, did their business, and went back home. We did our business and we stayed there because that's where we were from. And, you know, it was a real...
But the Indian Claims Commission does not acknowledge that.
That's right. They did not acknowledge that fact that we were there, and we have proven along, and that's one of the problems that we've had with Clark County is that these 4 card rooms there are throwing tons of money to try to say we don't belong. We don't belong in Clark County when we have documented proof that we do. And I think that's a very valid point that has to be considered here, is that we are different. We are within our Aboriginal area, even though the difference between exclusive use and occupancy and just being there, use and occupancy in the area because of the other tribes coming in, makes it a little bit different ballgame.
Does the local community support your efforts to get land in a casino?
Some do, some don't. I think we're making some progress. There's been a lot of misinformation that's coming out. We have always tried to take the high road and not get into a defensive battle, you know, with Clark County. I think we're going to have to go on the offensive a little bit here and to explain truthfully to the people of Clark County just exactly why we were there. There are some people that say you belong up in Toledo, way up in the middle of Washington, things like that. You know, we find that hard to swallow, but it's something we just have to deal with. And we will be coming out with documentation before this feeder trust issue is done that will conclusively prove that this is our Aboriginal area, even though we were not paid for it. I might mention that approximately 500,000 acres of land we're talking about here that were not included by the Indian Claims Commission as a result of this distinction between use and occupancy.
Chief Enyart, you filed your land claim on June 27th of this year. Isn't that a long time to have waited after you were removed from Ohio?
Yes, it is, Senator, but let me give you a little history of our tribe. We were removed from Ohio in 1832, and we eventually wound up in Oklahoma. We were awarded approximately, not quite 59 acres, but that's what we had for our tribal headquarters. The only income that the tribe had was monies that farmers would pay to farm at 59 acres. We had no income. The tribal leaders had to meet in churches, in courthouses, and their budget in the 40s and 50s was $50, and that was to get stamps. So, and then in the 1980s, we was able to get grants to build some buildings where we have a tribal headquarters down there now. And then also the 80s, we went into gaming. To go off, we didn't have the resources to do it. It is only through the gaming that we've been able to have some monies that we can be doing things that we were not able to do at that time. Gaming has been very good to the Eastern Shawnee. We put our money right back into the tribe. We have all kinds of social programs for our tribal members, such as children having clothing allowance, scholarships for people going to college, to trade school. So this money goes right back in. Yes, it was a long time, but we didn't have the resources then.
How would you answer people who say you're just looking to leverage a better, more lucrative gaming location?
I would say this. Let me tell you my vision for the Indian tribes. I foresee the day, and part of it is now, the federal dollar is getting harder to get, drying up. In my opinion, the tribes that want to make it in the future need to be self-sufficient. There's only one way that we can do this, and that is to use our profits from gaming to get into other businesses so that down the line we can become self-sufficient. We will no longer be dependent upon the federal government to take care of us. And it is our homeland. We do want to go back. Is it lucrative? Sure it is. But we're also willing to share in this with the state, with the community. We're just not trying to take all this for ourselves. And we have been very open about this in the press and on TV coverage too.
So people are correct when they say you are looking to leverage a better, more lucrative gaming location?
The terminology gets me, Senator. Are we looking for a better economic place to build? Yes. But that, again, the funds are going to be used in the state and also in the community and the tribe. So this will not only benefit us, but the tribe and the community, the state and the community as well. So to put that in as a 100%, I couldn't say that, no.
Assuming you obtained the land, are you confident the Ohio governor would sign a compact with your tribe?
President governor? No. Governor Taft is in there. I'm sure you're familiar with a famous Oklahoman, Will Rogers. Well, Will Rogers used to say, all I know is what I read in the paper. Well, that's all I know about the governor and the attorney general because we made an effort to meet with them. They didn't even respond to my letter. So the only thing I know is what I see in the paper and what I read and what is forwarded to me. He has made it comments in that he would not sign that. But again, I understand that he made the same comments when lottery was coming in. He made the same comments but lottery was approved.
Is there any limits to where a tribe should be able to return to exercise sovereignty, either in geography or in the amount of time that's elapsed?
I think if you have a legitimate land claim, you have historical data that proves that you were there, I don't think there should be any limits on it.
Shouldn't that be a decision of the Indian Claims Commission?
Well, I'm sure that they would like to have for that, but also it's a legal question. If we have legal reasons to go and file land claims, why can't we pursue them legal reasons? Now, it will be determined in court anyway.
You want to respond to that question also, Chief Barnett? Is there any limits to where a tribe should be able to return to exercise sovereignty?
Sovereignty is an issue, I think, that all tribes, whether we're federally recognized at one time, restored through the acknowledgement process. Senator Enyart told me at a fundraiser for Maria Cantwell, I sat next to him for dinner, and he was the keynote speaker, and he said two things, and they really impressed me. He said, always protect your sovereignty and always protect your tradition. And those words, I think, are true, and I think all Indian tribes adhere to those words, that if we are going to survive as tribes, we have to do that. But in this day and age, we do have to make certain adjustments to the way we do things. And, you know, Indian gaming is one of the things. Like, as a landless tribe, you know, you might say, well, are we reservation shopping? Well, how can you be reservation shopping when you don't have a reservation to begin with? I mean, that's our problem, and it's the problem of having to say that we are in our own Aboriginal area. And I think that Aboriginal word is important because that means that we've been there since time immemorial. When we yes.
I was speaking because of the odious practices of the federal government. Tribes were moved from east to west and resided in certain areas for long periods of time before they were finally relocated, if that's the right word. See my point?
Yeah, I do. In our situation, for instance, we didn't sign a treaty. The reason we didn't sign a treaty is because we were asked to move by Governor Isaac Stevens 200 miles away over to the coast of Washington to be on the Quinault Reservation with 8 other tribes. And at that point in time in our history, there was slave taking between the Cowlitz and the Quinaults. And, you know, a situation where we wouldn't even consider those types of things. We stayed on our Aboriginal land because that's where we wanted to be. And that's where we want to make our living, and that's where we want our children to come. I agree with you on reservation shopping. If there are valid reasons, this gentleman here, I don't know that much about his situation. If there are valid reasons, and if the legal situation is there to take it to court, I think that that's certainly their prerogative to do. I think the big issue here on reservation shopping is the opportunists that get involved. And they're there for one reason, to convince tribes that may not have as much smarts. This is the way you're going to make yourselves lots of money. And oh, incidentally, we might make some at the same time. And there's a lot of that going on. And I don't know how you people are going to handle it, but I know that you will handle it in an equitable way. I'm confident of that.
We've seen ample evidence of what you just stated. What's your next step, Chairwoman Norris?
Our next step is to pursue gaming in one of our home parishes of Grant Parish. We have went the route, as I explained earlier, with the governor and the movement of the state. We are back home in our parish area. How can they deny us a gaming facility, federal land to be taken into trust? We are waiting for it to be declared initial reservation. With the 3 other tribes who are federally recognized that have gaming facilities in Louisiana, we will be the next. I don't look at it as a form of expansion of gaming. I look at it that this is our right to be there to pursue this economic development. Unfortunately, gaming is the most lucrative in economic economic development. I wish it wasn't. I wish there was something else. I feel like we're put in a box by...
I think that's our view in New Orleans.
Yes. I feel we're put in a box by these gaming developers with the money. Unfortunately, as everyone stated here before, landless tribes, we don't have any money to pursue economic development. We do have to depend on, but we still maintain our Indian sovereignty by making these decisions to accept or not to accept. So my next move will be to establish a facility in the Grant Parish area.
Thank you. Again, since you mentioned Senator Vitter, I would repeat the committee has seen absolutely no evidence that Senator Vitter's opposition to your attempt to obtain a gaming facility has had to do with anything other than his long-standing principled opposition to the expansion of gaming. Mr. Gray, what's your next move?
Hopefully, with the assistance of the committee, we will continue to pursue the project that we have proposed under the existing rules. We hope that they're not changed. We've made extreme investments of money and time into the process, and we feel we're halfway there. We don't feel that the rules are broken, and we hopefully will be able to continue to pursue the project under those rules.
Thank you. I thank the witnesses. It's been very helpful. This hearing is adjourned.
Thank you.